Hello, everybody. This is Pete from Paw Labs, and I got a really complex video for you today, so y'all are going to have to bear with me. This is the complete ground-up rewrite of the server for the war game, but this is a little demo of it. But more importantly, this is a discussion over structure inheritance and a way, probably not the only, a way to create what's called a generic procedure. And there's a few caveats with the word generic. I'm not sure that this classifies as a complete generic, but it's really close and it's really cool. And this is how the new server is going to work. So I've created two little mock, I mean, they're nothing. There's objects here. So we have a unit and we have a city. Okay. All they have is an ID, name, a row, and a column. That's it. Nothing beyond that. There's no procedures in them. There's no nothing. All they are is a thing. All right. Now, you can kind of ignore this for the moment. There's a process on the bottom, which is the server processing of incoming messages, but I need the declare to be able to call it. So let's look at the declare for what is now the new server request. The server request is going to have a ton of structures in it, and it's going to have a ton of private procedures, and it's going to only have, I think it's three public procedures. Okay, so at its core here, the enumeration, these are the requested IDs, and the requested IDs are the game player wants something, some piece of information, or he needs to tell you about so you can tell all the other players, or that's, I mean, these are the requests, all of the requests that come from the game player itself, uh, and that come from the server out to the players is a server request now, nothing else. And so what I've mocked it all the way down. We have an ID. Now the ID here is a reference to the command. All right, that's a reference to the enumeration. So when you send a server request of 0, it's going to be just the ID. That's it. If you send quit or shut down, that's all it is. It's just 1 or 2. Nothing real major. If you send new unit create or the city create, well, you're informing the server that you've created this object, and you're going to include that object in your message. So watch how this happens. So we have our base structure here, which is just the server request. Let's zoom that up nice and big. Okay, now these build upon themselves, much like the what was the other one that we were doing? The enumerations. So I guess this is just like the enumerations, only it's way better. I got to go back and read the enumeration one. Okay, so we have at its core server request. So that means everybody is going to inherit from server request. So then I'm going to create a map hex. So you just adding two fields to server request. So map hex is a request ID and row and column. Okay. And then we have a city create, which is inheriting from map hex, which inherits from server request. And city create has a entire city object as its parameter. that adds to the row and column and the request of its inherited pieces. All right. And then exactly the same as city, we have unit create, and he's going to give you a full unit plus the row and column and the ID. Okay. So those are my structures. Now, in the actual war game, there's probably 50 different commands, so there's a whole lot of this. Now, uh, in our to end off our declare, uh, uh, start declare called, what is the initial, did he declare module, right? We have to declare our public interfaces. This is the how anybody gets into this actual module. Now, we're going to have a request ID that takes a JSON file, just a string, and it's going to return the ID number to you. We then have a serialize, which takes a request server, server request object, and then creates the JSON and sends you back the serialized string. Okay. And then we're going to have an extract object, which takes in a JSON and takes in an object or a reference to an object. Now, by its true definition, a reference to an object is an integer. That's the when you do this star request. Okay, he himself is just an integer. Pointer is a pointer in memory, and he points to a structure of this type. He himself is just an integer. So what I've done here is I've gone in and said, okay, I'm going to expect an integer. Okay. Now, what integer, what is the underlying object? Well, that's for you to make sure you got right. All right. Now, let's come down to see how we actually fulfill all of this. And there's a bunch of procedures down here. Most of them are pretty much the same. So we have the standard serialized request, which is this is all privates, right? All of these are going to be privates, okay? So you have a serialize a request, which takes a pointer to a server request. Now, that specifically is referencing this guy, okay? It's only the requested ID, all right? Now, he's going to do all his standard insert JSON structure, blah, 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 and create the JSON file and pass it back to you. Now we have an extract request, which takes in a JSON file and then turns it back into a request server request object. But this procedure doesn't load this and give this back to you. He's just going to create it on his own and just give you the requested ID out of him, basically, is what he's doing. That simplifies the server code. So this is how I chose to do that. Now, the rest of these are all straightforward. We're going to serialize a request. We're going to turn it into JSON. I can't foresee needing to turn a map hex back into a map hex. He's just an add-on kind of thing. So then we have the serialized unit create, which takes the request unit create object. Now remember the unit create or the unit create object here is unit create, which is a unit, a full-blown unit, plus row and column plus request ID. Okay, so where was I down here? Here we go. So this is the serialized unit create. So we take in that unit create, serialize him, and pass him back as a string. Great. Right, then we have his take the string and load the object. Right, it's pretty straightforward. There's nothing fancy about the code. We've done this. I've done whole videos on just doing that. And then the same thing for city create. Okay. So we're going to have 50 commands. I'm going to have, 100 processes in here that are all private. And when you use them, it doesn't matter. You don't need to remember them.